Welcome back to Kringle's Christmas Stories, brought to you by kringleskchristmas.com, home of Comet's Choice premium reindeer food, reindeer tested, Santa approved. Tonight, we're diving into Frostbane's Redemption, a North Pole Christmas tale. So grab your, hot cocoa, settle in, and get ready to be whisked away to a magical world where the spirit of Christmas faces a chilling challenge.
Ooh, sounds exciting.
Yeah, it is. And joining me tonight is our resident expert on all things merry and bright, ready to help us unwrap the deeper meanings hidden within this heartwarming story. Welcome to the show.
Thrilled to be back. There's nothing quite like a good Christmas story to warm the heart, especially one as intriguing as Frostbane's Redemption.
Absolutely. Now, before we get into our analysis, I think it's important for our listeners to experience the story in full. After all, a deep dive is best enjoyed when you're familiar with the terrain, right?
Couldn't agree more. Let's let the story unfold first, and then we can really sink our teeth into its themes and symbolism.
Perfect. So without further ado, let's journey to the North Pole and meet Frostbane, a villain with a heart as cold as the winter winds. Or is he? The North Pole shimmered with enchantment as Christmas Eve drew near, snowflakes pirouetted in the air, glinting like diamonds beneath the pastel hues of the aurora borealis. The village of elves was abuzz with activity. Laughter, the hum of hammers in Santa's workshop, and the jingle of sleigh bells created a symphony of holiday cheer.
You can practically hear it, can't you?
Oh yeah, at the heart of it all stood the grand clock tower of cheer, its towering spire visible from every corner of the village.
Oh,
Each day its bells rang out, spreading waves of warmth and joy through the icy expanse. But today the bells were silent. This was no ordinary silence. It was the kind that crept into the soul, leaving a chill even in the warmest hearts. Pepper Figgleflint, a spirited elf with curly hair as wild as his imagination, stood staring up at the tower. His ever-curious Arctic fox companion Sprocket sat at his feet, ears perked in confusion. "The bells haven't rung all morning, Sprocket?" Pepper muttered, his voice tinged with worry. "And without them the cheer magic won't spread. Something's really wrong." Tinsel Bright Spark, Pepper's best friend and the North Pole's unofficial problem solver, arrived moments later. She had her signature notebook in one hand and a magnifying glass in the other. Her oversized glasses glinted as she peered up at the clock tower. "I've checked the tower mechanisms," she said. "Every cog, every gear, every magical hinge, it's all in perfect working order." Pepper frowned. "Then why aren't the bells ringing?" Tinsel's tone grew serious. "Because it's not the clock tower. It's the Snowflake Symphony."
Oh, the Snowflake Symphony, of course.
The Snowflake Symphony was one of the North Pole's oldest traditions. High above the clock tower, enchanted snowflakes danced in the wind, creating a melody so pure and magical that it powered the bells. Their music was a beacon, spreading joy across the world. But today the air was silent. "If the symphony is missing," Pepper said, "then Christmas is in danger." "It's worse than that," Tinsel added. "Without their music, Santa's sleigh might not even lift off." Pepper's jaw dropped. No presents, no cheer. This is a disaster. The two elves and Sprocket hurried to the base of the clock tower, where a flurry of snowflakes normally gathered to begin their dance. Instead of glittering snow, they found an eerie shadow darkening the pristine snowdrifts. "What's this?" Tinsel knelt, brushing her fingers over the ground. Embedded in the snow was a peculiar imprint, a swirling pattern that seemed to pulse faintly with cold energy. Nearby Sprocket sniffed furiously, growling at something unseen. "I've never seen anything like this," Tinsel murmured, sketching the pattern into her notebook. "But it's not just snow, it's magic." Pepper glanced at her, his curiosity mingling with unease. "What kind of magic?" "I'm not sure yet," Tinsel admitted, "but I think we're dealing with something ancient." The sound of hooves crunching through snow turned their attention toward the stables. Aurora, a majestic white reindeer with a gleaming silver star on her forehead, trotted toward them. Her coat shimmered like moonlight, and her eyes held an otherworldly wisdom. "You've noticed it too," Aurora said, her voice soft yet commanding. "The symphony's missing," Pepper said quickly, "and now there's this strange magic." Aurora nodded gravely. "I felt it last night, a shadow moving through the skies. It carried a cold unlike any winter I've ever known." Tinsel's pen flew across her notebook. "What kind of shadow?" Aurora hesitated. "I believe it is Frostbane."
Frostbane?
The name sent a chill through the air. Even Sprocket whimpered, curling closer to Pepper. "Frostbane," Pepper whispered. "Who's that?" Aurora's silver star glowed faintly as she spoke. Long ago, before Santa's village was built, the North Pole was ruled by elemental spirits of ice and snow. Frostbane was one of them, a guardian of harsh winters and frozen nights. But when Christmas magic began to grow, bringing warmth and light, Frostbane's power waned. He retreated into the frozen wilderness, forgotten by the world. "Forgotten?" Pepper asked. Aurora nodded. "And now it seems he has returned. His magic frightened the Snowflake Symphony, scattering them across the pole." Why would he come back now? Tinsel wondered aloud. To dim the light of Christmas, Aurora replied. If the Snowflake Symphony is silenced, the world's joy will fade. Pepper's hands balled into fists. We can't let that happen. We'll find the snowflakes and bring them back. But how? Tinsel asked. They're scattered everywhere, and Frostbane's shadow still lingers. Aurora stepped forward, her star shining brighter. I can sense the snowflakes' magic. If we follow the trails, we can find them. But we must hurry. The three friends quickly formed a plan. Aurora would lead them to the missing snowflakes, while the animals of the North Pole would join in the search. The snowy owl rabbits and polar bear cubs all volunteered eagerly. We'll need everyone's help, Pepper said, his voice full of determination, because Christmas depends on it. Aurora led Tinsel and the snowy owl to the glacial caverns, a labyrinth of glittering ice tunnels. The air was so cold it bit at their cheeks, but Tinsel held firm, using her enchanted tuning fork to detect the snowflake's melody. Deep within the cavern they found a group of snowflakes trapped in a frozen stalactite. The owl hooted softly, his wings brushing the ice to reveal the frightened snowflakes. You're safe now, Tinsel said, coaxing them into a crystal jar. Meanwhile, Pepper and Sprocket ventured into the candy cane forest, where towering red and white striped trees sparkled with frosty peppermint. The sticky air made Pepper's hair stand on end. Sprocket barked and bounded ahead, leading Pepper to a clearing where a group of snowflakes was entangled in sticky candy threads. Hang tight, Pepper said, pulling out his trusty scissors. He carefully freed the snowflakes and tucked them into a pouch. Aurora guided the polar bear cubs to the frozen meadow, a vast expanse of untouched snow. Her silver star glimmered, revealing snowflakes trembling beneath a thin layer of frost. It's okay, she said softly, her voice like a lullaby. You're safe now. The snowflakes rose into the air, following Aurora's gentle light. As the teams regrouped at the clock tower, a sudden gust of icy wind swept through the village. The shadow of Frostbane descended, swirling like a storm cloud. The snowflakes quivered, their melody faltering. You dare to challenge me, Frostbane's voice boomed cold and hollow. For centuries I was cast aside, my winters forgotten. Now I will reclaim what was lost. Tinsel stepped forward, her notebook clutched tightly. We don't want to fight you, Frostbane, but you can't take Christmas away from the world. Why not? Frostbane sneered. It has taken everything from me. Aurora's star flared, casting a warm glow over the shadowy figure. It doesn't have to be this way. Christmas is for everyone, even you. Frostbane hesitated, his form flickering. For me. The Snowflake Symphony began to sing their melody, shifting into something new, a song of belonging and hope. Join us, Aurora said. There's a place for you here if you choose it. Frostbane's shadow slowly dissolved, revealing a tall, glacial figure with piercing blue eyes. He gazed at the snowflakes, the elves, and the animals, his expression softening. I've been alone for so long, he murmured. Perhaps I no longer need to be. As the Snowflake Symphony song grew stronger, Frostbane lifted his hands, releasing a surge of magic. The bells of the clock tower rang out in triumphant harmony, their sound brighter and more joyous than ever before. With Frostbane's help, the Snowflake Symphony returned to its full strength, and the North Pole sparkled with renewed magic. Pepper grinned as he watched the bells chime. We did it, and we made a new friend, Tinsel added, glancing at Frostbane, who stood quietly at the edge of the crowd. Santa himself appeared, his rosy cheeks glowing. Thanks to all of you, Christmas is saved. The entire village cheered, their voices mingling with the song of the snowflakes. High above, the aurora borealis blazed brighter than ever, a beacon of hope and unity for the world below. Wow, what a beautiful story. There's so much to unpack here, from the magical Snowflake Symphony to Frostbane's surprising transformation. What are your initial thoughts?
I'm particularly struck by, the way the story blends classic Christmas elements with a unique twist. The idea of a villain who's not entirely evil, who's actually longing for belonging, that's quite compelling.
Yeah, it really makes you think about, who the real villain is.
Exactly. And speaking of misunderstood, those silent bells at the beginning talk about setting the scene. You instantly know something's amiss, and it creates this sense of urgency that really pulls you in.
Oh, for sure. You know something's about to happen, but you don't know what.
And then there's that intriguing imprint in the snow. It's such a clever way to foreshadow the arrival of Frostbane and hint at his connection to a magic that's both ancient and powerful.
I know. It's almost like a little clue that the author's giving us.
Definitely keeps you guessing. The author certainly knows how to weave a tale that keeps you guessing.
Right.
But for now, I think it's time we take a short break to let those initial thoughts simmer. When we return, we'll delve a bit deeper into Frostbane's redemption and explore its message of hope, redemption, and the true spirit of Christmas.
Sounds good to me. We'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsors.
See you in a bit. And we're back, ready to delve a bit deeper into the heartwarming tale of Frostbane's redemption.
As I was listening to that story, one thing that really struck me was the Snowflake Symphony. It's such a unique and enchanting concept. What do you think is the significance of this magical element to the story?
I think the Snowflake Symphony represents the heart of Christmas itself. Its music spreads joy and warmth, just like the spirit of the season. And when it's silenced, a chill settles over the North Pole, almost like the world is holding its breath, waiting for the magic to return.
Yeah, I get that. It's a powerful image, isn't it? This idea of the world holding its breath.
It really is. And speaking of powerful images, let's talk about Aurora. Her role in the story is fascinating. She's not just a reindeer, she's a symbol of hope and wisdom, guiding the others towards a solution even when things seem bleak. What are your thoughts on her character?
Well, I think Aurora represents that unwavering belief in the power of good. Even when faced with a seemingly insurmountable challenge, she never gives up hope. And her silver star, it's like a beacon of light, guiding not only the other characters, but also the reader towards the possibility of redemption.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what else is interesting? She sees the potential for good in Frostbane. Even when he's shrouded in darkness, her faith in him is ultimately what leads to his transformation.
Right. She sees something in him that maybe even he doesn't see in himself.
It reminds me of that saying, everyone deserves a little bit of grace.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of Frostbane, his character arc is pretty remarkable. He starts as this menacing figure, a symbol of winter's harshness. But as the story unfolds, we learn more about his backstory, his displacement by Christmas magic, and his longing for belonging. Kind of makes you sympathize with him, doesn't it? Even if you don't condone his actions.
I think so. I mean, he's a complex character, not simply a villain.
Right. There's more to him than meets the eye.
His story speaks to the idea that even those who seem lost or hardened can find redemption if given a chance. It's a powerful message, especially during the Christmas season, a time of forgiveness and second chances.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what else is interesting about this story? The way it emphasizes the importance of community. From the elves and reindeer to the snowy owl and polar bear cubs, everyone comes together to help find the missing snowflakes and restore the Snowflake Symphony. It's a true team effort. What do you think the author is trying to convey through this element of the story?
I think it highlights the idea that we're stronger together than we are alone. When faced with a challenge, it's through collaboration, compassion, and a shared sense of purpose that we can overcome obstacles and achieve something truly extraordinary.
Yeah, I agree. It's a beautiful message and one that's especially relevant during the holidays, a time when we often focus on coming together with loved ones and spreading good cheer.
It is a special time of year.
But this story takes it a step further. It shows us that community can extend beyond our immediate circle to include even those who may seem different or have made mistakes in the past, like Frostbane.
That's a great point. The villagers don't shun Frostbane once he decides to change his ways. Instead, they welcome him into their community, showing him kindness and acceptance. It's a powerful illustration of the true spirit of Christmas, a spirit of love, forgiveness, and inclusivity.
Beautifully said. But before we wrap up our deep dive into Frostbane's redemption, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought-provoking question. If you could give Frostbane a gift for Christmas, what would it be and why?
What a fantastic question. I think I'd give him a warm pair of woolen mittens. After spending centuries in the frozen wilderness, I imagine his hands must be quite chilly.
Uh-huh. That's a great one. Practical and thoughtful. But I have a feeling Frostbane might need something more than just warm mittens to truly feel a sense of belonging in his new home.
Yeah, maybe you're right. There's got to be something more we can give him.
We'll be back in a moment to share our thoughts on that and offer a final recap of this heartwarming Christmas tale. And we're back, wrapping up our deep dive into Frostbane's redemption. I was thinking about that gift for Frostbane.
Me too. It's a tough one, isn't it?
It is. We want to give him something that truly reflects the spirit of the story. Something that goes beyond just a material object.
What about a story?
A story?
Yeah, think about it. He spent centuries isolated and forgotten. His only stories were probably, tales of winter's harshness and his own bitterness.
Right.
What if we gave him a story of hope and redemption? A story that reminds him of the good in the world and the power of second chances.
That's a beautiful idea. Almost like giving him a piece of the Christmas spirit itself.
Exactly. Something to warm his heart and remind him that he's not alone.
I like that a lot. And it doesn't even have to be a news story.
Right. Maybe one of the elves could share a cherished Christmas tale, passed down through generations, something that embodies the true meaning of the season.
That's perfect. A gift that would keep on giving. reminding him of the warmth and joy he's found in his new community.
And who knows, maybe he'll even start sharing his own stories eventually,
Yeah.
adding his unique perspective to the rich tapestry of North Pole lore.
Now that would be something special.
It would. A testament to the transformative power of storytelling and the way it can bring people together, even those from seemingly opposite worlds.
Well, I think we've done a pretty good job of unpacking this delightful Christmas tale. We've explored the magic of the Snowflake Symphony, the unwavering hope embodied by Aurora, and the heartwarming redemption of Frostbane.
It's been a great discussion.
It has. This story reminds us that even in the face of adversity, hope and love can prevail. It's a message that resonates deeply, especially during the holiday season.
And as we all prepare to gather with loved ones and celebrate the magic of Christmas, let's remember the lessons we've learned from Frostbane's redemption.
Let's embrace the spirit of giving, extend kindness to those in need, and open our hearts to the possibility of second chances.
Beautifully said.
Thanks for dropping by Kringle's Christmas Stories, and a very Merry Christmas.